I'm excited to have Jason Weimann, who is a pretty old friend in the Unity area. I learned a lot from you, Jason, on the coding side. I remember looking at your content on event system architecture in Unity, and that's how I learned a lot of the C# coding. But yeah, we're gonna step into Jason's Wayman, basically mine, and he has worked on more than 160 videos on YouTube on his channel. And he also has some great experience on XR, so I'm really excited to dive into that. But I'm gonna pass it to Jake.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have, I feel like, a real almost competition going, Dilmer. You've got like over 900 videos. I mean, I feel like I'm in like sandwiched between two like Unity like legends over here, like YouTube legends over here, which is crazy. But yeah, Jason, it's great to have you on Pixel Pushers. This is a show that we like to we've been bringing on people that are building games, that are storytellers, developers, like all across the board. Anyone who's pushing the pixels in their respective fields. Whether it's groundbreaking worlds, innovative gameplay, stories that are unforgettable, we like to dive deep into like your story, where you come from, what you're all about, and why you do what you do. Quick intros for those watching. I'm Jake Steinerman, co-host here today. Formerly used to lead DevRel at Spatial.io and Animal Company. Now I am a developer advocate at Meta. And I'm joined by Dilmer. Dilmer, say hello.
Hey guys, I'm Dilmer. Thank you, Jake, for that introduction. And I'm Dilmer, developer advocate as well here at Meta. Jason, Jason started way before I started, so a lot of his work has been inspiration for me. And I kind of transitioned from game development to XR, made a lot of content. I still make a lot of content. I love making content, specifically to developers. It's okay, Jason. Let's start with something I think a lot of people are curious about, and that is, how did you started on game development? What was your journey like? Bring us to that to that phase in your career.
Sure. So the actual story is kind of interesting. I was working at Intel, working on some server code on some of the new systems, that were new back then when quad cores were brand new and stuff. And I happened to go home one day, logged into EverQuest, and one of the guys who worked on the game and was a GM, a game master on the server, messaged me and said, "Hey, you know how to code? Do you want to come work for me?" And I said yes, and immediately moved down, started working on MMOs at Sony. Well, it was Sigil Games then, and then after 3 weeks got laid off and rehired at Sony. There was a whole acquisition thing going on. It actually worked out great, like doubled my salary after 3 weeks, and it was a little bit scary, but it was a lot of fun. Spent a lot of time working on different MMOs at Sony, and kind of learning a lot from expert developers who knew a whole lot more than me. And then the iPhone came out, and I got an offer to come work on the first iPhone games, or some games for the first iPhone. Released a couple that didn't do amazing, but had a lot of fun, and it was a great learning experience. And then eventually the DK1 came out, the Oculus, that dev kit came out. I saw it, ordered it immediately on Kickstarter, got a hold of it, and was just kind of in love with it. I was bringing it into work every day, showing it off, showing the cool stuff, had all these ideas for things that could be done with it. And that really kind of started my VR and XR development career. So from there, I just went through a couple versions. By the time the 2 came out, I was making a bunch of games. And then when the Vive came out, I ended up releasing one of the launch titles for the Vive, which was probably still my favorite one. It was a little baseball game that, go back just a little bit onto the tutorial side. While I was playing with that, I was kind of getting into the idea of writing blog posts about technical stuff and programming stuff. And it literally, like at that exact time, the Vive got released, and I thought, okay, well, why don't I just try making one about VR stuff? And I realized that doing VR stuff in a text wasn't very helpful. It wasn't very easy to explain. So I recorded a couple videos on how to build VR games. In fact, I think the first video that I ever put on YouTube was how to do stereoscopic VR in a headset. So showing how to play a video that was 3D in there. It was a lot of fun, way easier than I thought it would be to make a video. Making videos way easier than blog posts, by the way. So yeah, I was making a tutorial on how to do hand tracking with the controllers, or controller tracking, and setting that up with a baseball bat to see kind of how you could swing and hit things and control the physics with it. It seemed kind of interesting and fun, and I actually let my wife play it, and I asked her to play it and test for me while I was moving things around and having her hit balls constantly, and she enjoyed it, which was very strange because she doesn't play a lot of video games.
I'm very surprised that she enjoyed it.
Yeah, she was having a blast with it, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll spend a little bit of time turning this into an actual game, and literally spent a weekend making it into a home run derby game and released it as a launch title. It did great, and then from there I just kept making VR games, made quite a few of them. We started up a little studio, released a bunch of titles for the Vive and the Oculus. It was right around the time the Oculus store came out, so we started putting stuff on there, and I really just kind of fell in love with making VR and XR stuff, and I had a blast with it ever since. And after that, I also just went into making all kinds of game development and Unity tutorials for 2D stuff, 3D stuff, and everything else.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, you've been an OG from the iPhone to the DK1. Like you've been in it from from the early days, which is awesome. Do you remember like what were you building with Unity on, like for the first iPhone games, or was that more native?
Yeah, that's actually what got me into Unity, was the fact that Unity beat everybody else to the iPhone by about a year and a half. Okay. They had immediate support for it, iPhones and iPads. I was like, okay, this is the way to go. So we switched over. Before that, I was using Unreal a lot at Sony, and then switching to Unity was simple. C# was already really comfortable, had been doing it before, and I realized like just how easy it could be to make a game. I mean, now it's 10 times easier than it even was back then. So
yeah. That's great. I didn't realize. I mean, I know Unity's been around for a while, but I didn't realize. Yeah, they were early to the iPhone, which is pretty incredible. Yeah,
they seem to do that with pretty much every platform. Just like the Apple headsets, the VR headsets, they were the first to all of those. They tend to be ahead of the game on pretty much every like new platform development that I've seen, at least.
Yeah, that's how I learned it as well. I was trying to build for HoloLens back in 2015 or 2016, and like they're like, oh, like you have to use this platform called Unity. I'm like, what's that? Like, let me go learn this thing to go build 3D, and then yeah, the rest is history. So that's I hadn't really thought about it, but that's back in 2015 for HoloLens. That was early.
And I started doing development on mobile, and that's when like ARKit and ARCore was made available on mobile. Did you do any development with those as well in Unity?
Yeah, I did a bit. Mostly, though, stuck with the Steam VR SDKs and the Oculus SDKs, because they were where the stores were.
Wow. So you have been doing a lot of stuff, Jason, in Unity. I mean, you touched multiple features. Like, what are some of the features that have like the most impact in development for you within Unity?
It's really, well, I guess a combination of things. One is just the wide array of just device support, being able to get out to everything, but also the asset store really helped speed up development a lot and helped me learn a lot of things that I would have had to spend a lot of time reading books and researching, where I could just kind of go through actual real projects that worked and showed how things should be done or could be done. Not always the best way to do things, but usually a way that worked. And it really just made it so that instead of having to have a giant AAA team, I'd be able to develop games, with one or two people and get things out there that were popular and sold well. And I mean, I still use it to this day. I was literally importing some assets that are on sale today so that I could put them into a project that I'm AI generating for VR.
That's a lot of buzzwords in one in one sentence. What are like things that you like to? You have like go-tos in the asset store, or other things that you like to use in a lot of projects?
I've got a list of like a bunch of different tools that I use regularly, but the things that I end up using like per game, often it varies a lot just depending on the type of game. I just grabbed this card game pack that I wanted to try out making a little card game, and it's already there. Like the core of it is already there, all the main functionality, and just lets me kind of focus on the things that set stuff aside. I feel like it's kind of a lot like using a game engine. It allows me to just get started on the actual thing that I want to make and not put together all of the building blocks. I mean, I could always build stuff from scratch and do all of the rendering from scratch, but I did that a long time ago, and now there's really not a lot of point other than as a learning exercise. I find it a lot more fun to just get in there, make something that's fun, cool, and make the vision, come to life in a day or two instead of, many months or years. It's been really helpful.
So now that you say that, like I know when you started and we started doing development, it was I wanted to code everything from scratch. I wanted to make sure that I remember the structure of a class, what an interface is. Like there was just so many things that I wanted to make sure that I knew 100%. So how are you developing today? Like I'm curious with AI and assisted tools. Has that workflow changed? Are you still writing things from scratch, or are you using any AI tools for that?
Right now it's a mix. I feel like AI is still kind of early, but I am literally using it to build one project almost entirely with AI using the Bezier tool that my buddy Greg recommended. And I found that it's working great. It's really fast at getting me what I want. I actually wanted to recreate an old BBS game that I used to play back in the 90s. I had to explain to my son what a BBS was like 2 days ago, which probably explained to everybody else. They can go look it up. But I wanted to recreate this Coliseum game called The Pit, and I put in, I think it was about 10 to 15 prompts before I had a working game that had the core flow, and turned it from a 2D ASCII game to actual 3D. And this morning, when I got up, I threw in some art that a buddy of mine made to see how that would work. And again, took 2 prompts, and now I have a character running around swinging swords and taking hits and stuff. And it's been really interesting to see just how much things are changing. I mean, I still feel like 5-10 years down the road, we're going to be at the point where you're mostly just talking to the system, telling it what to generate, and then it's generating stuff that's good. Because right now the problem is more that not so much that it can't generate things, sometimes things will generate that are generated are kind of hard to follow, hard to modify and update, and run into problems. But the speed that I'm seeing with AI stuff, I feel like it's going to really pick up. And also just using it for tool development. So when I started off doing game dev, the first job I had was just doing tools. It was creating tools for the designers. And I found that I don't really enjoy doing that much anymore. I like that they have tools. I like giving them cool tools, but going and finding things to hook up, Google Sheets and get commits and all that, and finding all the libraries is not really that interesting and exciting. So when I can just tell an AI to generate me a tool that does one thing and does it well, it most of the time just kind of works and gives me the thing that I need, so I can focus on the more interesting, harder problems, or the things that I think are going to require a human and that I can't just automate away. So it's a lot of stuff that I would normally like throw to a junior developer, at least at this point, and just toss over to AI.
I do the same thing. Like there's things that I'm not really interested in doing. I don't want to spend my time on, like if I wanted to create unit tests and things like that are repetitive, or maybe a method that I'm like not really interested in implementing, or I done in the past, like a regular expression could be an example of that. But
I hate regular expressions with passion.
Tell us more. Let's dive into that.
But I'm like in my mind, like a junior developer, like if I were to go back in time when I graduated, and I were to start right now with all these AI tools, I would kind of feel lost. Because I think like having that skill of being able to write it and understand the whole flow. So do you have any like perspective on that? Like what do you think like junior developers going forward, how are they going to be in a lot of problems? Are they in a lot of problems? What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I feel like it's going to kind of self-select just like it always has. The people who are actually really interested in learning how to code are still going to learn how to code. They're going to ask AI for help on things that are hard. And then the people who don't really want to code, but somebody told them it was a good job, they're going to try to use AI, get stuck on stuff for quite a while, and then get frustrated and give up. I mean, I've seen that with developers for the last 20 plus years. Some really get into it, really love to code. They love kind of understanding and figuring out the problems, and some just want it as a shortcut to make a bunch of money. So I feel like the people who really like it and are interested, they're going to still learn. They're still going to want to understand. And when the AI is doing stuff that they're asking, they're going to look at it and try to learn from it. And those people will do much, much better with it. Because if you do have AI generate stuff and you can't even read your own code or can't read the code that's there or understand what it's doing, it's not very helpful because you can't go in and make the changes and understand what to do differently. Now, again, that will probably change in 10 years or so. Hopefully we'll have something closer to holodeck style where you just walk in and tell it what you want. But even those, I watch a lot of Star Trek. Somehow there's always holodeck programmers. I don't know what they're doing. They're in there talking to the thing or what, but it's going to be, I feel like somewhere around there. But yeah, if you're learning to develop and you're just like a new programmer, you should definitely spend a lot of time just writing things from scratch too. Not writing entire engines and rendering things from scratch, but building your games without AI and then asking AI for help when you run into problems.
So getting back to kind of XR stuff, are there ways that you've used AI? You're using AI for XR projects in particular? I guess it's regardless of the types of experiences that you're doing. Are you integrating it as part of the experience, or you have an AI assistant, or more of kind of the coding side, the development side of things?
Both. Yeah. So, I use the JetBrains AI assistant in all of my code when I'm actually writing code, and I'll have it autocomplete stuff and tell it to do methods that I just don't feel like writing. And most of the time, the autocomplete just knows what I'm going to type, and it saves me a ton of time, speeds stuff up. But I also have been using it for just full-on project generation and SDK implementation. So finding out and digging through SDK documents is not always the most fun. So it can be really helpful for speeding that up.
So when we talked about, one thing that I found interesting is you started doing with development early on VR. And a lot of people that know you, at least from my perspective, you're the Unity game developer, more traditional, standalone, perhaps mobile. But I'm curious, what are some XR projects that you work on? And maybe what kind of tools do you use when you were developing with XR?
Oh, yeah, it was pretty much all Unity stuff. I built, like I said, the first one was that baseball game, just a simple home run derby where you just hit balls out. And that was still the most popular and most fun one, I think, because people that liked baseball. I took it over to my buddy Brad's house, and some guys there playing it. It was just play for hours on end, just sitting there playing while we're doing other stuff, and just couldn't get off of it. Anybody that liked baseball had a lot of fun with it, just trying to maximize stuff. From there, ended up building a shooter because it seemed like an obvious fun one, grabbing all kinds of weapons from the asset store, hooking them all up, and having a blast blowing up zombies. We built a monster game, kind of like Rampage, a 4-player one, and climb up, tear apart buildings, throw the building pieces at each other, try to knock each other out and do the most destruction. Ghostbuster style game where you run around and hunt stuff. A lightsaber game. This thing that makes me the most sad is one day my buddy Salim came over. I think you've met Salim. He came over and we were coming up with some ideas for games, and he was like, hey, we should just build a lightsaber game. And we talked about it a little bit, and my dumb ass was like, if we do that, we'll probably end up getting sued by Disney. Let's just try doing it, but we'll make it something else. And I think we ended up swatting bees. And it was interesting, but not that exciting because you couldn't slice stuff, and lightsabers are way cooler. And then a month later, Beat Saber came out, and a couple other lightsaber games came out, and nobody had any issues with Disney suing them, and they were giant hits and a lot of fun. And we definitely could have built something like that. We've just been early to the market, which that was one of the things that I was really excited about with VR, and even with these new glasses and stuff, is just getting early to the market and putting out things. Oops, I just started playing music randomly. Putting out take them off for a second. I have a bad habit of touching the side and then starting the music up, but getting out and having some early games that are out there when the market's not flooded with stuff and it's easy to get visibility onto something that's somewhat interesting, I think is a great thing, which one of the many reasons that I grabbed those display glasses. Let me see if I can put them back on now that I closed them and opened them.
So moral of the story, don't be afraid to get sued by Disney, because
yeah, and what'll happen, I learned from the baseball game, is they'll just send you a cease and desist. That happened because I used a baseball stadium that I bought online for a couple $100, apparently from a site out of Russia that had absolutely no rights to it, and it was a real stadium. I didn't know either one of those things when I put it in, so I had to go swap that out. I had like 2 weeks to replace it, swap it out, or they were going to sue me. I was like, okay. And then they called me for an interview. It was direct from MLB. It was interesting.
Funny thing, for Gamescom, we had a talk, Jason, and in the description I put in, I think it was Gamescom or DevCom, but we put in that we were going to do a lightsaber demo. And right away, the marketing team back to us at Meta, they're like, no, let's not do lifesavers. Because I mean,
it has to be a light sword or an energy sword.
Yeah, I guess that comes to mind is like, yeah, you can slice things, and then kids relate to it. Like, it's just more personal because you watch that over time, and it's like a fan experience to build. But yeah, I relate to that. So Jason, how because you were invited to Meta Connect, so you were one of the people that we got in, and really cool to see you there. What were your takeaways from testing the glasses?
Well, for me, I mean, the display glasses that I got on right now were like the most exciting thing, because I've been talking about this for many years about how, I think that VR and AR is going to get down to glasses sizes. And I've used the spectacles, the Snap ones, and they're really cool, but they had the wire down and my head is way too big. So they squished my head and gave me a headache after like 10 minutes. Yep.
I mean, I feel there's a big difference between them, right? Like, one of them, this is augmented reality, where this is more like a overhead display.
Yes. Yeah. So they have really cool functionality on those ones, but I said with the way that my head is massive, it just gave me a headache. And when I heard that these ones had hinges like this and a large size and the wristband, I was just kind of blown away. And I mean, the thing that really was, I'd say, the worst about Connect was not being able to get one there. When I was there, I was like, okay, I got to get a hold of one of these so I can just drive home with it on. I was like, this is going to be amazing. Okay, I've got to stop touching the side. I got to just disable that because I keep turning on my kids' music. But I got a hold of them a couple of weeks ago, and I've been having a blast with them. I've been using them basically nonstop since I got them to record videos, listen to music, take tons and tons of pictures. At Universal, just a couple of days ago, recorded almost everything. Got a great shot of Mario Kart from inside the visor. And I've got lots of little kids, so it's nice to be able to just capture stuff without standing around holding my phone. Like everybody else, take them out to the pumpkin patch. Everybody is standing there with their phones, holding it up, recording, and I'm just like, tap, tap, turn it on, go. And I just record them playing, and I can actually kind of be present and enjoy the experience at the same time as I'm recording it, because I know that it's just recording what I'm seeing. I don't have to hold it up and try to make sure that I'm capturing it, which I never understood when people go to events and like they're not actually paying attention or watching anything. They're just watching it through a camera. Like, if your kid's up there singing or doing whatever, like you want to be able to enjoy that. So it's been great to be able to do that, to just be able to hop on a video call and talk to somebody and show them what I'm looking at right away. Amazing as well. And just, not having to basically pull my phone out nearly as much, get all my text messages and working out with them on, and I can hear music, and then somebody calls me, I can see it. I don't have to pull my phone out. If I want to change my songs, I just swipe over and tap real quick and go to the next one. I don't have to keep pulling things out. And it's been really handy. I mean, I'm even more excited about, I know there's a 27 version coming out with dual displays. I still don't know any of the details. You guys probably know a lot more than me, but I'm really excited about those. And I'm hoping that, like Gen 2 has AR where I can, look at somebody and then like remember their name, like, or whatever it is. Or like, for instance, as that Connect, there's so many interesting people there. If it gave me a little bit of info on like, oh, this guy works on this game, that would be amazing. Be able to get that info.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially I remember like Connect running in. Yeah, you just run into so many people, and just I want to remember also like who like I ran into, so I can like follow up with them afterwards, because I don't have time to like take out your phone, write something down like really quick as a reminder. And I'm saying this, and I can't see you guys at all because I don't have my prescription in these, so you're blurry faces on the screen. But yeah, it's definitely really handy. I find that with myself as well. Like I have these, and I have the non-display Ray-Bans, and those have my prescription, so I wear those more often. But yeah, just being able to like record a video of my 2-year-old, like when I'm like playing with him and stuff like that. Yeah, and I don't have to be doing this. And he's like, "What are you looking at? Like, why are you not looking at me? Like, why are you looking at this brick in your hand?" Is huge. And it's like the tech's come a long way. Like, I think what people also are like really excited about is that you can't see what I'm looking at, which I think was like a big difference from like I had Google Glass 12, 13 years ago. And that was like a very like pretty obvious thing. Like on top of your glasses, there was this brick floating in front of your thing that would light up when you were using it. But here, like it almost looks like you're kind of like looking just off to the side just a little bit, but you can't tell that there's anything there, which is remarkable engineering that's how that works.
The thing that I did too, because I went to Universal and Jason was there in the same day, is not pulling my phone, but then using my voice to say, "Hey, take a picture or start a video." Like not being able to, and like being able to use micro gestures as well. Because that's the thing that I'm trying to get used to it. Is because I'm so used to using Quest and having my hands in front of me in the field of view, thinking that this reacts the same way, but this doesn't react the same way because it's pretty much reading your muscle movements. And at Universal, I just use my voice, but you can use very micro, subtle gestures and be able to change things around. Like to me, it's one of the killer features. The display is cool. This is cool. But the wristband, it feels like we're living in the future, which we are living in the future.
Yeah, I totally agree. The wristband, I really want to see it available for VR too. I feel like it'll be interesting to see how that works because, like you said, with the normal headsets, you kind of have to have your hands out in front if you want to do hand tracking. And when I was first trying these out, I kept doing that. I kept putting my hand up and then like, oh yeah, you can just leave it in your pocket. And I realized like, oh yeah, this is a much better experience. Nobody even knows I'm doing it. And kind of like Jake was mentioning with the Google Glass, most people don't realize or even know that there's anything going on unless I have it recording and there's a little light flashing, and then they're still probably not really sure what it is. So it doesn't feel too out of place. Although I was saying that as kind of a nerd, it would be really cool if they were more like sci-fi looking, like if they looked like some crazy tech gadget instead of just normal. I would have gone with that version instead, like transparent ones where you could see through, or just something that looked like it was straight out of Star Trek, but not a giant visor either. Like same form factor.
I want the thing from Dragon Ball Z, the what was it called, like the range finder, what's it called, the thing that like Vegeta wears. It's just like the one side, almost like
just right out in front.
Yeah, it's like right out in front, and it's got all the stats going and things like that.
Yeah, I may end up just getting like a wrap for them, wrap them up like a car so that they look crazy and sci-fi. But they've been a blast, like I said, and just I feel like the future for them. I'm really excited about getting a hold of dev kit soon, or SDK for it really soon, so I can start trying to make things as soon as that's available. I plan to do kind of the same thing that I did with the VR headsets, where I just literally on the way to Disneyland wrote out a list of 50 ideas of different games and apps that I could build, and then picked one a day for 7 days that seemed the most interesting, built it, recorded a little video on it, and see like what was fun, what worked, what didn't work. And it was a really great learning experience and good way to kind of explore. And I really want to do that with these things. I think it'll be a blast. So I'm really looking forward to it.
So Jason, you and many of us here, like we learn on our own, and we figure things out and we research. what do you say to somebody that is starting, like maybe they're doing game development already, maybe they're doing web development, but what would you say it's one of the things that you recommend them to do to break or to break into, no break XR, but get into XR development? Uh, just, so that they can start familiarizing with the tools.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think that just experimenting with a bunch of ideas and trying to get small scoped things that all do something different is the best, because then you kind of get a broad kind of array of different uses and things that you could do with it. Do something that involves movement, do something that involves hand tracking, do something that maybe involves a little bit of networking. Try out all kinds of different things as really small projects, because the problem with trying to learn a lot of the time is people will have this big, massive ambition, and they'll try to build something where they're not really doing that much with the tech. They're doing a little bit with the tech, and then trying to do a whole bunch of other stuff that takes a ton of time. And I think that if you really want to just get into new platforms, the best way to do it is small, fast things that you can go through. And then when you find the thing that's great, turn that into something that you spend a lot more time on once you've got a little bit of experience with it. But don't start on something huge. Like I always tell people, like, don't make your first game an MMO, because it's probably not going to work out well. It's almost definitely not going to.
I love that, man. Yeah, doing an MVP is always just something very small, like you said, the Flappy Bird of XR or VR. Then that will teach you the majority of the features, and then you can start extending that depending on what you want to learn and what you want to explore.
Absolutely, yeah. I was told in college, you got to start simple, take your idea, make it simple again, and make it simple again, and then make it simple again. Like, yeah, start with just do one thing well. Like you said, Dylan, the Flappy Bird. Just make a bird go up and down, and then give it lasers later, kind of thing. Just make it.
Yeah, just keep cutting. And my first VR game that I made was just a hang glider. You could fly around environments and go see stuff. It was kind of cool. The second one was that baseball one where all you had to do was hit baseballs. The hardest part was just getting it to track and getting the collisions to work right. And it was a lot of fun. It's still probably the most fun compared to all the things that I spent way more time on. So start with simple, small, and like you said, Jake, just keep cutting it and cutting it and cutting it until it's down to the core part that's actually the interesting thing, and just implement that at first. And if that's good and fun, then maybe start building up on it afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there, when it comes to like devices, and you don't have to answer this a certain way because of who we work for, but are there certain devices that you, XR devices in particular, that you like, or ones that you're excited about that might be coming or just came out?
I mean, there's a lot. I still like the Index. I like the Oculus's. Being able to just be mobile and walk around is great. And then the new Google headset that just came out, I haven't really dug into it, but it looks really interesting too. Kind of reminds me of the Quest Pro. The foveated rendering and eye tracking seem really interesting. The price point seems slightly less interesting, but we'll see.
Yeah, these things are getting better. They're getting better and better, right? From Vision Pro, the Vision Pro, and even the Quest Pro and stuff like that. Those price points, and like they're coming down at the same time. Though I will say, and again, it seems like a great device. The Galaxy XR. It's interesting that, like, I think we talked at the top, it doesn't ship with the controllers, which I think is like an interesting shift towards like how we get these devices to more people. But I will say the controllers cost the same as a Quest 3S, which comes with controllers.
I saw that post as well on Twitter.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, like still feel like for game developers, like if you're trying to make a game and you're not trying to make a business app, you probably want to stick more on the Index, Vive style, or the Oculus, because that's where most of the actual users are. If you build something for the Vision Pro, and the market's just drastically smaller, and that's why I like the other ones, like Oculus, because you can get a headset for $299 new, or I'm not sure what today's prices are, but you can get them used for even cheaper. And everybody that I know that has a kid, pretty much their kid has an Oculus. Not very many of them are going to have a $1,500 or $3,000 device. So if you want to build something, you build a game that kind of runs on those devices, you're going to have a whole lot more success and just drastically bigger market. It's like building for the iPhone. You want to get in there on the place where people are actually playing and buying stuff. Even if the hardware is crazy cool. I mean, one of the mistakes I've seen plenty of people make in the past is targeting hardware that most people don't have. Targeting, you got to have the latest video card, or no, you can have a 2-year-old video card and it's fine. Those games do terrible compared to, I think back to World of Warcraft, which would run on your grandma's kitchen computer. You could play that and it was a massive draw because there's lots of players and you don't have to really push the bounds on rendering and other things all the time, or use all of the technology. You have to use the parts that are interesting and fun and get it into people's hands. So that's where I would focus.
No, absolutely, Jason. So, Jason, where can people find your work? Like any websites, your YouTube channel that you want to let the community know?
Yeah, just my YouTube channel is just my name, Jason Weimann on YouTube. I think it says Game Dev in the middle. There's a site, game.courses. I actually have a course that's a beginner Unity one that I was going to switch over to make free. So I'm going to put it on YouTube's courses thing and then put it up on there so people can go learn for free and just kind of get into game development. It shows how to build a 2D platformer, multiplayer one, with assuming that you have no experience and you're at least around like a middle school level, but not that complicated. Try to keep it so that things are simple and you can learn without having to know too much and get people in there. I kind of did a lot of practice by having my youngest son learn how to code by a lot of the tutorials that I made, and it's been great. He actually just got a job making a pretty good salary 2 days ago, doing development just from watching videos and learning stuff. So it's been great. You don't have to, I know some people are going to hate me to say this, but you don't have to go through a professional program or anything. You can pretty much learn everything that you need to learn online. If you're interested and driven, you can get into the industry and start making stuff and get a job now. There's no reason to wait and be like, oh, I'll start doing this, when I'm 24 or whatever, out of college. And don't wait for any of that. Just get in, start making stuff. I think he's 17 and just got his first job, making more than I did in my first game dev job. It's amazing. So really excited for that. Yeah, just get out there and start making stuff though. There's tons of resources. And if you want to learn VR stuff, I mean, Dilmer's stuff is way, way more up to date. So go check that out as well.
Jason, thank you, man, for coming in. And I want to talk to you later about what your son is going through and your courses, because I have a son too that is it's not 17, he's 13 years old. So, but I want to get him to make a lot of money so they can start helping as well. So,
yeah.
Thanks for coming in, man. We really appreciate hanging out with you. We admire your work. Keep doing what you're doing. You're inspiring and teaching a lot of people around the world. I would say thousands, if not millions of people have learned, including myself, from your tutorial. I'm sure Jake has also learned a lot from you. But yeah, thanks for coming in, man.
Hey, no, thank you guys for having me. And again, thanks to Meta and OG Oculus guys for making all this stuff possible, making all these headsets and the glasses now. Just still blown away by these things. Just can't stop playing with them. So thanks again.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jason. Thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment below. Let us know who you want to see next on the show. Other favorite YouTubers, developers, game creators. We'd love to have them on. We'd love to feature them, no matter how big or small they are. We'd love to chat with all y'all in the community. We'll catch you guys next time for awesome conversations and game dev insights. So stay creative and keep pushing those pixels.